look at means of egress disasters, quite often we have some very common similar hazards. And means of egress disasters go back over 100 years ago. If you take a look at the Iroquois Theater fire in 1903 in Chicago, as well as the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire in New York City in 1911, the Coconut Grove Fire in Boston in 1942, as well as the Imperial Foods chicken plant fire in Hamlet, North Carolina, that's in 1991, we had some very common hazards, some very common themes. We had blocked or locked exits, doors that open inwards where they should have actually traveled in the path of travel so that an employee wouldn't get caught in front of the door and then other employees tried to pull the door towards them. And then an inadequate number of exits. Maybe some of the patrons, some of the employees were not aware that there was an exit because it was partially obscured. And also lack of emergency planning and training. We want to make sure that our employees are properly trained on how to properly respond in the event that we have an emergency at our plant. So in considering the Imperial Foods fire, the chicken processing fire in Hamlet, North Carolina, though this happened in 1991, there was a hydraulic line that burst. And this is about a 30,000 square foot facility. There were personnel doors throughout, but there was a concern by the plant manager that employees were stealing chickens and equipment and materials from the facility. So a lot of these doors were actually locked, so the exit doors were not accessible in many cases. That resulted in a very disorderly evacuation. We talked about doors being locked. Now, a similar incident occurred a few months before Imperial's at another chicken processing plant where we didn't have any deaths or injuries. Well, let's talk about why that occurred. Similar situation, but in one case, no fatalities. Now, that was at Tyson Foods. Just a couple months before, they had a hydraulic system leak as well, but they had many safety measures in place. They evacuated 115 employees within 3 minutes who were all accounted for, and they had no injuries, they had no deaths.